And so the Stephen Hawking thing actually hit kind of the Twitter waves the same time I was following the Jerusalem-based stuff. And what I found most shocking about the Stephen Hawking thing, it's undeniably a huge, huge victory for the BDS movement. It is. I mean, on the comedic angle, you're looking at like one of the world's smartest guys. So if he says it's a good idea, then you're like, well, he's one of the world's smartest guys. You know, that's kind of that angle. And I think that what happened when Stephen Hawking decided to stand with BDS was he was attacked for his disability, like mercilessly. Suddenly all bets were off, and it was totally okay for people to go after him, call him a cripple, call him a retard, call him every disabled slur in the book. And in doing that, they were kind of trying to, like, stir up that old stereotype that all physically disabled people are actually soft in the head and, you know, mentally inferior. And, you know, we joked about it. I have cerebral palsy. So I've had to face my entire life people everywhere, including in interviews, treating me like I'm mentally inferior. And to see the attacks on Stephen Hawking and see how hard they worked to tear down this man just to discredit the decision he had made was quite shocking.
Yeah, I think that one of the nastiest tropes was a hawkish Israeli academic said that he should discard the Israeli-designed computer chip that allows his wheelchair to run, as if that's somehow a choice that he can even potentially make. I want to just push back a little bit and ask. I just want to ask why. So some people are wondering. The Palestinian movement for statehood and independence and freedom from occupation has taken their cause to the United Nations. They've tried to negotiate a statehood deal in negotiations with the Israelis, often moderated by the Americans or other bodies. Why do we need to boycott Israel? Isn't that punishing all Israeli civilians?
You're talking to the wrong person, because one of the big dilemmas that I face as someone who is in the public eye is the fact that I travel back and forth also all the time to, Palestine, and I fly into Tel Aviv. And when you fly into Tel Aviv, it's really not a good idea to be too vocal about BDS. So I've always said that I don't have the ability to actually take a public stance on BDS. I also don't take a public stance against beating kittens to death, but it's not something I'm at liberty to do, because if I talk too much about it, it could, be something used against me to deny me entry. And I'm not exaggerating. There are people who have, been kind of punished for supporting BDS. I think that the reason that the Palestinians chose to use BDS is because it's a form of nonviolent, protest. It's a nonviolent action, and they've seen that it's worked in other scenarios. And you could also blame it on watching the UN. Maybe they learned it from watching the UN. Every time the UN wants to punish someone for doing something wrong, they sanction them. So why shouldn't the Palestinians?
I think it's a good point, and I think that what people, and again, it's a very difficult issue for me, only because you're worried about Israeli security harassing you at the airport, and I am worried about my family members, disowning me. But I should be willing to stand up to that. Here's the argument that Noam Shazaf made in an excellent journal called 972 Magazine, 972mag.com. He basically said, look, for a full year, there has been not a single Israeli killed in the West Bank. Because the Palestinian Authority has policed it so tightly. And yet, Israeli voters responded to that by electing yet another right-wing government that effectively ignores the occupation. The housing minister is a huge advocate for greater settlement. And so to say that the negotiations process has succeeded, and to say that there's not a need for more leverage to be brought for Israelis to basically, Noam Shazaf put it, he basically said, what Stephen Hawking did, given the clout that he has and the position that he has, is essentially saying to the Israeli public, the Israeli sort of the mushy middle, if you will, in Israel. It doesn't feel good about the occupation, but isn't necessarily willing to take the risks to end it, there's a price to this, and this is going to affect your daily life. And so I appreciate that point. Maysoon, we're going to continue after this break in just a moment. We're going to get to hear a little bit about the Boxer Amendment, your fight against that. I also want to talk about your work as an advocate for people with disabilities.
Nice. Cool.
All right, great. Well, stay tuned when Take Action News continues after this.